Hey everyone, welcome to today's podcast. We're diving into a really exciting topic, how to enhance your English skills using language learning apps. These apps have become incredibly popular, and for good reason. They're accessible, flexible, and designed to help learners improve at their own pace, no matter where they are in their language journey.
Hi everyone. I'm really excited to talk about this because, honestly, language learning apps have been a game changer for me. When I started, I was struggling with basic vocabulary and pronunciation. And now, after using apps like Duolingo and Babbel, I've seen such a huge improvement. These apps truly make language learning feel less intimidating and more fun. And I can't wait to share how they've helped me progress from the basics to a more advanced level.
So, let's kick off by talking about the biggest advantage of language learning apps: 24/7 accessibility. This is a huge game changer, especially for people with busy schedules. Whether you're commuting, on your lunch break, or even waiting in line somewhere, you can pull out your phone and practice. Apps like Duolingo and Babbel are designed to be flexible, so you're not tied to a specific class schedule. This lets learners integrate English practice into their daily routines, making the process much more manageable.
Yeah, that's exactly what made the difference for me. I remember starting with Duolingo's streak system, which tracks how many days in a row you practice. It really pushed me to stay consistent, even if it was just for 10 minutes a day. Those short, daily lessons helped me get comfortable with basic grammar and conversational phrases without feeling overwhelmed. It's amazing how much progress you can make when you're practicing in small, bite-sized chunks every day.
Exactly. And another thing that makes these apps so effective is the variety of learning modes they offer. They're not just about reading. There are listening exercises, speaking drills, and even interactive quizzes. This blend of activities caters to different learning styles. So whether you learn better by hearing, speaking, or reading, these apps have you covered. I think that's what makes them really engaging. You're not stuck doing the same thing over and over.
Absolutely. And speaking of different modes, one thing that really helped me improve my speaking and fluency was using HelloTalk alongside Duolingo. HelloTalk connects you with native speakers for real-time conversations, which is an incredible way to practice. I remember feeling nervous the first few times, but the more I practiced, the more confident I became. It's such a great complement to the structured lessons because you get to apply what you've learned in a real-world context.
That's such a good point. Real-life practice is key to gaining fluency. But what's also great about these apps is the structured learning paths they provide. For example, Babbel organizes its courses in a way that lets you start as a beginner and gradually move to more advanced topics. You can track your progress and see how far you've come. It's motivating to see that growth, and it helps keep learners on track because they know exactly what they're working towards.
Yeah, I found that so helpful, especially as someone who started with very basic knowledge. When I first used Babbel, it was reassuring to know that I wasn't just jumping into random lessons. The courses had a clear path, so I always knew what I was focusing on, whether it was building vocabulary or mastering grammar. It's really rewarding to look back and realize how much progress you've made with a structured approach like that.
Now that we've covered the benefits, let's dive into how to choose the right app based on your learning style and goals. For beginners, you might want to start with something like Duolingo or Memrise. These apps focus on building basic vocabulary and grammar, and they do it in a really fun, game-like way. The idea is to keep it light and engaging, so you stay motivated without feeling overwhelmed. If you're just starting out, these apps are perfect because they make language learning feel more like a fun challenge than a chore.
Yeah, that's exactly where I started. Duolingo was my go-to when I was learning basic phrases and vocabulary. The gamified experience made it feel less intimidating, and it really helped me build a habit. But after a few months, I realized that I needed something a bit more structured. That's when I switched to Babbel because I wanted to dive deeper into sentence construction and verb tenses. Duolingo gave me a great foundation, but Babbel helped me move to the next level by offering more detailed lessons and explanations.
Exactly. And that transition is really important for learners who feel ready to go beyond the basics. For intermediate learners, apps like Babbel or Busuu are ideal because they offer more structured lessons. These apps focus on practical conversational skills, so you're learning things that you can actually use in real-life situations. Babbel, for example, goes deeper into grammar and sentence structure, which helps bridge the gap between beginner and intermediate levels. It's a step up from the more playful approach of Duolingo, and that's what makes it great for people looking for more serious progress.
Yeah, I totally agree. And with Babbel, I felt like I was really progressing because the lessons were so well organized. They build on what you've already learned, so you're not just jumping around randomly. I remember struggling with verb tenses, but Babbel's explanations made it easier to grasp. It was also really satisfying to see how the lessons connected and helped me understand how to form more complex sentences.
That's a great point, Priya. And for those who are moving into more advanced stages of learning, apps like FluentU are a fantastic option. FluentU uses real-world videos, like news clips, music videos, and even movie scenes, to expose learners to more complex sentence structures and cultural nuances. This is especially helpful if you want to get a better feel for how English is used naturally in different contexts. It's also great for understanding slang, idioms, and other expressions that you might not find in a traditional textbook or lesson.
Exactly. Once you reach that advanced level, it's not just about grammar anymore. It's about how the language is used in everyday life. I haven't personally used FluentU yet, but I can see how it would be an amazing resource for picking up those little details that really make a difference in fluency. I think what's important is knowing where you are in your learning journey and picking the app that matches your current needs. Starting with something fun and light, like Duolingo, and then gradually moving to more complex apps like Babbel or FluentU is a great way to make steady progress.
Now that we've talked about choosing the right app, let's get into how you can actually fit language learning into your busy life. One of the best strategies is micro-learning, scheduling just 10 to 15 minutes a day instead of trying to cram in long, sporadic sessions. Apps like Drops are fantastic for this because they focus on vocabulary building in short bursts. It's perfect for people who don't have a lot of time but still want to make steady progress. The key here is consistency. Just a few minutes every day can really add up over time.
Yeah, I found that to be super effective too. I use Quizlet when I'm commuting to revise vocabulary. Instead of just sitting on the train or waiting for my bus, I'd pull out my phone and go through flashcards. It's such an easy way to turn idle time into productive learning. Plus, those short sessions really helped me retain words better because I was reviewing them regularly in different contexts. Even just 5 minutes here and there made a big difference in my word retention.
That's a great example. And speaking of idle time, it's amazing how much of it we actually have throughout the day. Whether you're waiting for an appointment, standing in line, or even just taking a quick break at work, you can use that time to engage in quick exercises. Apps like Duolingo or Babbel are designed to be used in these moments. They make it easy to pick up where you left off and squeeze in practice during these short, often overlooked pockets of time. It's all about being intentional with your time.
Exactly. And one thing that really helped me build a consistent habit was Babbel's personalized review system. Every day, it would remind me to revisit previous lessons, which reinforced what I'd already learned. This not only helped me retain information long-term, but also gave me a sense of accomplishment. It's easy to forget things if you're not actively reviewing, but having those reminders built into the app really pushed me to keep revisiting older lessons and stay on top of my progress.
That's a smart approach because building daily habits is crucial for long-term retention. Like you mentioned, it's not just about learning new things, but also reviewing and solidifying what you've already learned. If you can dedicate 10 to 15 minutes a day, especially during idle moments, it becomes a natural part of your routine. Before you know it, those small efforts will lead to big results. And the best part is, these apps are designed to keep you engaged, so it doesn't feel like a chore.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the biggest takeaways. Using your time wisely and building a habit of consistent practice. Whether it's commuting, waiting in line, or taking a break, there's always an opportunity to practice. For me, combining Babbel's structured lessons with Quizlet for vocabulary review has been the perfect mix. It's all about finding what works for you and sticking to it daily.
Let's move on to one of the most challenging aspects of language learning: speaking. There are a lot of great apps out there that specifically focus on improving speaking skills. One of the standout features is speech recognition technology, which you'll find in apps like Rosetta Stone and Mondly. These apps listen to your pronunciation and provide real-time feedback, helping you improve how you sound. It's a great way to practice speaking on your own without feeling self-conscious, especially when you're just starting out.
Yeah, speaking can definitely be intimidating at first, especially if you're worried about making mistakes. For me, what really helped was using HelloTalk to practice with native speakers. The app allows you to send voice messages, and I found that super helpful. It's less pressure than a live conversation because you can take your time, listen back to your message, and even ask for feedback. It really helped me develop confidence over time, and I became less afraid of making mistakes. Plus, the feedback from native speakers helped me work on my fluency.
That's such a great way to practice, Priya. Another cool feature I've noticed in apps like Mondly is their conversation simulations. These AI-driven dialogues let you practice speaking in real-world situations, like ordering food at a restaurant or asking for directions. You're not just repeating phrases, you're actually engaging in a back-and-forth conversation, which makes the learning experience feel more realistic. It's a great way to get used to speaking naturally, even if you're just practicing with AI.
Exactly. Those simulations really help with fluency because they mimic real-life conversations. But what I love about apps like HelloTalk is the human interaction. The first time I sent a voice message, I was nervous, but the person on the other end was so supportive. It made me realize that mistakes are part of the learning process. Over time, I started to feel more comfortable speaking without overthinking every word. That shift in mindset, learning to be okay with making mistakes, was a huge step for me in becoming more fluent.
That's a key takeaway, embracing mistakes as part of learning, and that's why these apps are so helpful. They provide a safe space to practice without judgment. Whether it's through speech recognition technology or conversation simulations, you get the chance to refine your pronunciation and sentence structure. Over time, this builds your confidence and makes it easier to speak naturally in real-life situations. It's all about finding a method that works for you and sticking with it.
Exactly. For anyone looking to improve their speaking skills, I'd recommend combining a couple of methods. Use apps like Rosetta Stone or Mondly for structured pronunciation practice, and mix that with real conversations through something like HelloTalk. The combination of technology-driven feedback and actual interactions with native speakers is powerful. It's really all about finding the right balance and, most importantly, giving yourself the freedom to make mistakes and learn from them.
Let's shift gears and talk about building vocabulary and improving grammar. These are essential parts of mastering any language, and luckily, there are some amazing apps that focus specifically on these areas. For vocabulary, apps that use spaced repetition systems like Anki and Memrise are incredibly effective. They help learners retain new words by spacing out reviews at optimal intervals. This method ensures that the words stick with you for the long term, which is especially helpful when you're learning a lot of new vocabulary at once.
Yeah, I used Anki a lot for that exact reason. What I loved about it was that I could create custom flashcards for words I found difficult, especially words I came across in movies or books. I'd write the word, its definition, and maybe even an example sentence. And then Anki would schedule reviews for me at just the right times. Over time, I started noticing that I could recall those words more easily and even integrate them into my daily conversations. It's such a great feeling when a word you've been struggling with becomes part of your active vocabulary.
That's a fantastic strategy, Priya. And along with vocabulary, improving grammar is just as crucial, especially when you're working towards fluency. For this, apps like Grammarly and English Grammar in Use are really helpful. Grammarly is more focused on writing, and it not only corrects your mistakes, but also explains why something is wrong, which helps you learn as you go. On the other hand, English Grammar in Use is a great app for those who want a more structured approach to grammar, offering lessons that guide you through everything from basic to advanced grammar rules.
Yeah, Grammarly has been a game changer for me, especially when it comes to writing. I use it for both professional and personal work, and it's helped me spot and fix grammatical errors that I might have missed otherwise. What's great is that it also suggests alternative phrases or words that make your writing more clear and polished. I found that after a while, I wasn't just learning grammar through the app. I was starting to apply those rules naturally when I spoke too. It's helped bridge that gap between formal grammar and everyday usage.
That's such an important point, because grammar isn't just about getting things right on paper. It's about speaking accurately, too. And what's great about using apps like Anki or Memrise alongside grammar-focused tools is that they complement each other. While you're learning new words through spaced repetition, you can also practice using those words in grammatically correct sentences. This holistic approach to learning really accelerates your progress, allowing you to speak and write more confidently.
Exactly. And for anyone listening who's looking to improve both vocabulary and grammar, I definitely recommend using a mix of these tools. For me, Anki was perfect for expanding my vocabulary, especially with custom flashcards for words I encountered in books and movies. Pairing that with Grammarly helped me refine my grammar in both writing and speech. The key is consistency. Using these apps regularly has really helped me grow my language skills, and I think they can do the same for others.
One of the most important aspects of learning a language is staying motivated, and many apps do a great job of helping with that. For example, Duolingo uses gamification features like streaks and leaderboards to keep learners engaged. If you're the type of person who loves a bit of competition, these features can be a great motivator. It's not just about learning the language, it becomes a fun challenge to keep your streak alive or climb the leaderboard, which keeps you coming back day after day.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. But what really worked for me was setting small, achievable goals on Busuu. They have these clear milestones, like finishing a level or earning certificates when you complete a course. Every time I reached one of those milestones, it felt like a mini celebration. It was such a great boost to my motivation. I found that breaking my learning into smaller steps made the whole process feel more manageable, and each little success kept me moving forward.
That's such a smart approach. Another way these apps help you stay motivated is through personalized learning. Apps like Busuu, for instance, give you feedback from native speakers, which is really valuable. You're not just learning in a vacuum, you're getting constructive criticism on your speaking and writing, so you know exactly where to improve. It's like having a coach guiding you through your language journey, which makes the whole process more personalized and rewarding. Absolutely, and that personalized feedback really makes a difference when you apply it in real-life situations. For me, using FluentU consistently helped me reach a point where I could watch English movies without subtitles. That was a huge milestone for me because it proved that all those hours of practice were paying off in a real, tangible way. Being able to understand native speakers in movies without relying on subtitles showed me just how far I'd come. It's those real-world wins that keep you motivated to continue learning.
Exactly. Those real-world impacts are such powerful motivators. And that's one of the best parts about using these apps. You can actually see your progress, whether it's through completing a course, getting feedback from native speakers, or simply being able to follow along with a movie. Tracking your progress and celebrating these small victories keeps you motivated in the long run, making language learning feel less like a chore and more like an exciting journey. It's all about finding what motivates you and sticking with it. Whether it's achieving a streak on Duolingo, getting feedback on Busuu, or seeing your progress reflected in real-world situations like watching movies, these small wins add up. The key is to keep setting goals and enjoying the process.
To wrap things up, language learning apps offer a flexible, engaging, and effective way to improve your skills, no matter your level. By staying consistent, setting achievable goals, and celebrating your progress, you can make great strides in mastering English. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope you found these tips helpful in your language learning journey.